In the wake of the Paris attacks, there are growing calls for a new international alliance to defeat Islamic State.
We are recommending an international coalition
with a more effective coalition air campaign.
What we need to do is lead an international coalition.
We need to lead a coalition to take out ISIS.
But what exactly would a so-called grand coalition involve? French President Francois Hollande plans to travel to Washington and Moscow this week to build support for an alliance thought unlikely just weeks ago. After meeting British Prime Minister David Cameron in France on Monday, Hollande will fly to Washington, D.C. to meet with U.S. President Barack Obama on Tuesday. He'll jet back to Paris Wednesday to sit down with German Chancellor Angela Merkel, and then he'll finish off his travels with a stop in Moscow Thursday to meet with Russian President Vladimir Putin.
What is at stake is to put an end to annihilate an army that threatens the entire world.
It's unclear if Hollande will make a case for ground troops, but if Russia agrees to work with Western nations, it could signal a shift in the Syrian civil war, which is central to the U.S. military's plan to take out ISIS.
They can get on the right side of things here, which is promoting a political transition in Syria.
But the future of Syria's leader Bashar al-Assad remains a key hurdle in uniting the nations. While Russia says Assad is part of the solution, France and its allies, including the United States, insist he must go.
There is obviously a catch, which is Moscow still is interested in keeping Assad in power. We do not believe that we can arrive at a political settlement so long as he remains president.
Assad's departure is also crucial to Middle Eastern nations like Saudi Arabia, Jordan, the United Arab Emirates, and Israel. Leaders of those countries are worried that if Assad remains in power, it would increase Iran's influence in the region.
Iran sent thousands of Afghani and Pakistani Shiite fighters to Syria. Iran did all this to prop up Assad's brutal regime.
To further complicate matters, Putin visited Tehran on Monday, meeting with some of Assad's greatest allies, Iran's Supreme Leader Ayatollah Khamenei and Iranian President Hassan Rouhani. It's also unclear what a new alliance would mean for the current Operation Inherent Resolve, a U.S.-led coalition of 65 countries, including France, that has been targeting ISIS in Iraq and Syria for more than a year. So far, President Obama has stood by his campaign of airstrikes and dismissed calls to put more troops on the ground.
The United States, in partnership with our coalition, is going to remain relentless on all fronts: military, humanitarian, and diplomatic. We have the right strategy, and we're going to see it through.
The operation is estimated to cost $10 million a day and has successfully struck more than 16,000 ISIS targets. But Pentagon officials acknowledge that air power alone will not destroy Islamic State.
If it were just us versus ISIL, we could defeat ISIL. The problem, as we've learned in Iraq previously and in Afghanistan, is sustaining the defeat. For that purpose, we need capable and motivated local forces who can keep the place running without extremism after ISIL has been defeated. Now, they're hard to come by in Syria and Iraq, but they do exist.